South Africa, a nation with so much promise, often finds itself grappling with a dark reality: corruption. This beautiful country, rich in resources and cultural diversity, is unfortunately plagued by a systemic issue that undermines its potential. It's like a nasty virus infecting the veins of our society. This insidious disease spreads quietly, often unnoticed, until it has already caused significant damage. From the highest offices to everyday interactions, the abuse of power for personal gain casts a long shadow. Corruption infiltrates every level of governance and society, creating a culture of mistrust and inefficiency. We've seen it time and time again. Scandals break out, shocking the public, but often the perpetrators walk away with little to no consequences. Politicians entrusted by the people using their positions to line their own pockets. These leaders, who should be the guardians of public interest, instead become the architects of their own wealth. Public funds meant for development and upliftment vanishing into thin air. Schools remain underfunded, hospitals lack essential supplies, and infrastructure projects stall, all because the money has been siphoned off. This betrayal cuts deep, eroding trust and hindering progress. The people who place their faith in the system are left disillusioned and frustrated. The fight against corruption is a battle for the soul of South Africa. It's a struggle to reclaim the nation's integrity and ensure a fair and just society for all. It's about ensuring that resources reach the people who need them most. The true victims of corruption are the ordinary citizens who are deprived of basic services and opportunities. It's about holding those in power accountable for their actions. Justice must be served, and those who abuse their positions must face the consequences. And it's about restoring faith in our democracy. A transparent and accountable government is essential for the health of any democracy. But the path to justice is rarely straightforward. The legal system is often slow and cumbersome, and those with power and influence can manipulate it to their advantage. High-profile scandals like the Nkandla saga and the VBS Mutual Bank collapse have exposed the depths of this problem. These cases highlight the extent of corruption and the challenges in addressing it. They've also shown us the complexities of unraveling these intricate webs of deceit. Investigative journalists and dedicated law enforcement officers work tirelessly to bring the truth to light. But the road is long and fraught with obstacles. Let's talk about Nkandla. This name, once just a location, has now become synonymous with controversy and public outrage in South Africa. This wasn't just a house. It became a symbol of unchecked power and blatant disregard for public funds. The lavish upgrades to the property, funded by taxpayer money, were seen as a gross misuse of public resources. Former President Jacob Zuma's private residence, lavishly upgraded with taxpayer money, sparked outrage across the nation. The upgrades included not just essential security features, but also extravagant additions like swimming pools, a cattle kraal, a chicken run, and even an amphitheater, all paid for by the South African people. These additions were justified under the guise of security needs, but many saw through this facade. It was a slap in the face to those struggling to make ends meet. In a country where many live below the poverty line, the extravagance of Nkandla was a stark contrast to the daily realities of ordinary South Africans. How could a leader sworn to serve the people justify such extravagance? The public demanded answers, and the pressure mounted on Zuma to explain the misuse of funds. The Constitutional Court ruled that Zuma had benefited unduly from the upgrades and ordered him to pay back a portion of the money. This ruling was a significant moment in South African history, as it held a sitting president accountable for his actions. A small victory, some might say, but it sent a powerful message. No one is above the law. The court's decision was celebrated by many as a step towards greater accountability and transparency in government. The Nkandla scandal became a turning point. It was more than just a political scandal. It was a catalyst for change, highlighting the need for stricter oversight and better governance. It ignited a national conversation about corruption and accountability, forcing people to confront the rot within the system. The outrage and subsequent actions taken by the public and the judiciary showed that the people of South Africa would not stand for corruption and misuse of public funds. The younger generation in particular took up the mantle, demanding a future free from the corruption that had plagued their country for so long. Nkandla became a rallying cry for those who wanted to see real change. In the end, Nkandla was not just about a house or a scandal, it was about the fight for justice, accountability, and a better future for all South Africans. The legacy of Nkandla continues to influence the political landscape, reminding leaders that they are ultimately accountable to the people they serve. Then came Bosasa, a facilities management company that became synonymous with state capture. This scandal revealed the extent to which corruption had infiltrated the government, with tentacles reaching into various departments. At the heart of it all was the brazen bribery of government officials in exchange for lucrative contracts. Bosasa, it turned out, was a well-oiled machine, greasing palms and securing deals through illicit means. The Zondo Commission, tasked with investigating state capture, exposed the inner workings of this corrupt network. Testimony after testimony painted a grim picture of how greed and a sense of impunity had taken hold. The Bosasa scandal served as a stark reminder that corruption thrives in the shadows. It highlighted the need for greater transparency and oversight to prevent such blatant abuse of power. Section 4. VBS Mutual Bank, a heist of epic proportions. This is a story that shook the very foundations of South Africa's financial landscape. The collapse of VBS Mutual Bank was more than just a financial scandal. It was a devastating blow to ordinary South Africans, many of whom lost their life savings. Families who had trusted the bank with their hard-earned money found themselves in financial ruin. This small bank, catering to communities often excluded from mainstream financial institutions, became a lifeline for many. It was a beacon of hope for those who had been marginalized by the larger financial system. But that hope was shattered when the bank became a piggy bank for corrupt politicians and businessmen. These individuals exploited the trust of the community for their own gain. Chifiwa Matodzi, the mastermind behind the heist, orchestrated a scheme that siphoned off millions. He was eventually sentenced to 18 years in prison, but the damage was already done. The community was left reeling, with many wondering how they would recover from such a loss. Millions of rands had vanished, leaving behind a trail of shattered dreams and broken trust. The financial security of countless families was destroyed. The aftermath was a scene of despair, with many South Africans feeling hopeless and betrayed. The VBS scandal exposed the vulnerability of our financial systems and the devastating impact of corruption on the most vulnerable members of society. It highlighted the urgent need for stronger regulations and oversight to protect the interests of the public. The scandal underscored the importance of ethical leadership in the financial sector. Moving forward, it is crucial that we learn from this tragedy and implement measures to prevent such a catastrophe from happening again. The future of our financial stability depends on it. Section 5. Shadows of Doubt. Malema, Shivambu, and the fight for accountability. The fight against corruption also extends to opposition parties. Julius Malema and Floyd Shivambu, prominent figures in the economic freedom fighters, have faced their own share of allegations ranging from money laundering to illicit tenders. While these allegations remain unproven in a court of law, they cast a shadow over the EFF's commitment to clean governance. The party, known for its vocal criticism of corruption within the ruling African National Congress, must hold its own members to the same standards. The allegations against Malema and Shivambu highlight the complexities of tackling corruption. It's not enough to point fingers. Everyone in a position of power must be held accountable, regardless of their political affiliation.